about yourself? How did you sort of see that one?
Yeah, I think they did. How can I put this in a really clear way? They hurt us a bit with their wing backs very, very high, and a couple of times we got exposed. I think twice in the first half and 3 times in the second half, and it was just frustrating because we worked a lot on that defensive sort of scenario. So they did expose us a couple of times. I mean, which was disappointing from that scenario. But all in all, look, we wanted to go out and control the game. We wanted to sort of make sure that we dictated when we decided to go forward and rotate to prepare opportunities to go forward, and we found some space by being patient and dominating and rotating with the ball.
Was that the source of there were some frustrations, I guess,
Yeah.
In the technical area? Was that kind of what
Yeah.
that was about?
Yeah. We knew that they would pull us one way and then try to hit us on the opposite side, and again we got caught a couple of times, and it could have gone either way. I mean, there was one in the first half which I think they had a shot on goal, and then the one in the second half where the players actually ended up in the box and didn't shoot early, and lucky it's sort of we recovered. Just things that we need to be smarter with. But again, when you're dominating and when you've got a lot of ball, you're going to always find those situations where you will get exposed sometimes with a long ball. It happened to me at Lyon. It happened to me when I was at Arsenal. It was the same thing, and it sort of maybe exaggerates the game a little bit. Those things, but they're things we need to fix and be better. But we were higher, we were more proactive. We settled early. And that was the most important thing, and that was our targets after the England game.
You had 5 strikers on the bench at the start of the game: Sampson, Kerr, Johnson. There were a number of players. Is that kind of that attacking mindset that you got from the squad heading into the Asian Cup? Is that an insight to what you want?
Look, if you know the way I want to play, I always want to have the ball and attack. So I'll probably make attacking changes before I make defensive changes. We're just a proactive team. I mean, even our defensive line was nice and high. It was nice and compact. It allowed our sixers to be a little bit more proactive because the distances were higher. So we were there, and absolutely. And then obviously in the attacking sense, you need to have different weapons. You need to have different qualities and profiles. Sometimes you need to attack the line over the top when they give you the space. I felt that we could have played a little bit underneath tonight, and that's why I brought Michelle Heyman on, because she was coming short. There was space in between their back three and their midfielders, and she was picking up little balls in there, and we could break. So you just need those different sort of profiles in attack, especially when you need to change things. So it's part of building the squad for the Asian Cup.
The decision to start Steph Catley at centre back, was that a product of wanting to see Courtney Evan, or was that a product of you wanting to see how Catley and Heatley perform with one eye on the Asian Cup?
Yeah, I'm blessed because I think we've got 3, 4, 5 centre back combinations that are really important. Look, in all honesty, Claire came back a little bit tired. She played Sunday night in London and got in quite late, and I thought she's played 90, so it would just give her a bit of a freshen up. But I just wanted, I think with Steph we were able to just, we built up a little bit differently tonight, as you probably saw, and I felt that Steph was the person that could do that in finding the passes into midfield. Yeah, she's just had a little bit of what do you call it? Just a grumbly sort of calf. It hasn't settled properly. She's trained, so there's no problems. We got some load into her today, so she did really, really well. She was a lot better. We just felt just give it a little bit more time. That's all. She came from Chelsea with it wasn't even a strain. It was something very, very minimal, and it was just minimal things which you normally come back from long-term injuries. They sort of pop up every once in a while. But we just decided with Sam and the medical staff and the technical staff to just give her a little bit more time and get her ready for Tuesday.
So that calf injury that happened in England rather than
It was something that popped up in England, yeah. It was something that popped up in England. I think it was sort of last couple of days of training before she came here. So yeah.
Do you expect she'll get any time in Adelaide? Or is there a world where she doesn't play in Adelaide?
No. We're setting her up for minutes. We're setting her up for minutes, yeah. Exactly that. You know, we just felt it wasn't needed tonight.
Which leg was it?
Yeah, good question. I think it's I don't know. I don't even know. Which one is it?
Because we had the left before the World Cup.
It's nothing of that nature. It's absolutely, it's nothing of that nature, as I said. No, it's nothing of that nature. You just felt a little bit of tightness, and we just felt that it's not worth it. But she trained fully today. We did a big session today with her, and yesterday she trained with the team. The day before she trained with the team. She did one session, I think, individual, but she's fine. She's fine. We're actually sort of setting her up to get some minutes tonight, but we just felt it wasn't needed. The way the game went.
Looking at the game itself, obviously you get on the front foot early, scoring early, you kind of start to take the game away from them. But you talked a little bit about their tactics, sort of exposing it. Like, was I guess that good in a way, knowing that you had that buffer should they have exposed you, but like I guess they were sort of treated as like a mini training game towards the second half. If that makes sense.
We've worked a lot. Especially understanding when we can break lines and preparing to go forward. Instead of my football's never been direct. My football's never been direct, meaning that hit and hope sort of stuff. Sometimes you have to be direct, but it's a prepared direct football, which makes a little bit more sense. And it's very, very important that when we pull out players or pull out lines in central areas, that we have the opportunity to create space going forward. I mean, we found a lot of space with EVE tonight, who was just popping out in behind sort of their defensive line, and it was very difficult for them to defend because their midfielders had to come across. But what it prepared the attackers to go in positions going forward, and we exposed them a few times. So I was very pleased with that mentality, that bravery to say we keep, we attract the pressure, and then we find the spaces and go. So that was good.
When you talk a bit about Amy Sale, she played really well, and obviously not long back from her own ACL injury. She seemed to have really integrated herself into the national team, which is hard not to watch.
Yeah, Amy's a very talented player. Very, very talented player. Smart, understands space, understands relationships on the pitch, and also technically very, very sound. I'm probably playing in an area where she's sort of like a cheating winger. She's not a winger. She's sort of a number 10, number 9 cheating winger sort of thing. So we have to make a lot of use of that overload in those areas, and that's where we hurt them a lot, because when their fullback had to follow Amy inside, it gave room for our midfielders, gave that space. So she's tactically smart, she's very sound, and I still think she's got a lot more. I still think she's not there yet. She's maturing nicely, and I think she'll be a very, very important player for the national team in the years to come.
Do you expect to make any changes for the second game, or have you sort of like landed on a loose starting 11 and maybe variations?
I'm blessed. We'll try a couple of other things next on the next game. I want to solidify an idea for the team, and we'll probably make a few changes, I think, just to make sure that we've covered all the scenarios going into Asian Cup, because that's the most important thing in terms of the team balance, but also painting those pictures that what we might get in the Asian Cup. I was happy that sort of New Zealand dropped off a little bit more, because we think we're going to get a lot of teams that will create mid blocks. So we had to find the solutions, and we had to find the solutions with a little bit of patience, but also finding the space at the right time.
I was going to ask about that. Like, how does a result like tonight translate to some of the opposition that you're facing in the Asian Cup? Because there's a lot of the will sit in that low block.
100%. And again, our management, when we were attacking, allowed them a couple of times to expose us. So, and that's what will happen. So tonight was a really good indication that first of all we have to be higher. We have to have our lines ready. We have to be ready to even defend 3-on-3, 4-on-4 at the back, because they'll leave. Some of these teams will leave players high, but more importantly, to make sure that we manage moments when we are going forward. And obviously, then you saw tonight the dominance of when they did drop off. We were able to play through them.
You talked in your squad announcement press conference about wanting to see Tamiki Yalla, being a creative midfielder, getting behind the lines. What did you make of her tonight?
Meeks has been great at training, and also tonight there was some very, very good little movements from her, especially when the ball was coming out one way and she was sitting in the opposite pocket to attack the line, and that's what she's good at. And she's also coming back from a little bit of, I would say, injury, but a bit of time out, and slowly building minutes at Brisbane Roar, and it was great to get her some minutes tonight. And I think she'll, she's as she continues this way, she's looking a very important part of the Asian Cup squad going forward.
And speaking of having to make those player choices, everyone's very excited to see who becomes the number one goalkeeper between Mackenzie Arnold and Tegan Micah. Do you almost sort of wish that Micah had more shots today so you could see how she would go?
I'm blessed to have two fantastic goalkeepers. We're in a very good situation in the national team, and I don't sleep at night trying to decide who's going to play and who's not going to play. But it's one of those things, there are certain qualities that Macca has which are really important against certain teams. There are certain qualities that Teagues has against certain teams, but we're in a fantastic position, and this is football at the highest level. I've got to make some tough decisions, and it might be a gut feeling decision, and the player, one player who gets left out mightn't agree with that, but hey, they're the decisions I've got to make. But they're there for the team, and they know the importance of when they have to be involved, what it means, and when they have to not be involved, how important they support the team.
And speaking of those gut decisions, you mentioned yesterday that Charlie Grant was out till Christmas, probably going to be back in January, and then weren't sure what the minutes were going to look like. What's it going to look like having her and Mary Fowler both coming back in, knowing you won't have any Matildas games, but just looking to integrate?
Again, I'll look at that a little bit later to see who's sort of progressing. We might not have some players in the squad at the moment not progressing, and we may change some direction. There's a little bit of space, but I'd want to think that we can get some minutes into a lot of the players before the Asian Cup. That's ideal. Then I'll have to make a decision if the balance of the squad takes a player that hasn't played much, but we need in certain scenarios. We'll just have to paint that picture when it happens.
And going into the next game in Adelaide, what are you expecting that New Zealand will change based on what they can see today?
I think they're quite a brave team. What they're trying to do, they're really, really brave, and I have to applaud. Their man-on-man at the back against, they were man-on-man against, I think we got some quick players and some, pretty feisty sort of players. So they really closed spaces in midfield at times, and as I said, they exposed us out wide. So I don't know if they'll change much. I think they'll want to make sure that they right the wrongs from tonight.
And you played with Stotty, she was on the squad this time. Do you think her appearance would have made a difference?
I don't know. Yeah, I've got a soft spot for Stotty. We had some good times at City. I don't know. I mean, they've got some very, very good defenders. But I'm sure that Rebecca also would have added something to the team for sure.
Just a real quick one on women. We've got here, Minnie pretty much said it all, but it must be tough as a coach to have that duty of care over a player who's been through something really big and is all of a sudden away from family.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Yeah, look, we've been talking a lot. She called me straight away when the situation happened from Rome, from Italy, and said, "I'm coming home. This has happened. I just wanted to let you know, and I want to tackle it this way." But the strength, for someone under these circumstances. And the thing that amazed me the most is that she didn't want to tell the group. She asked me to tell the group yesterday because she didn't want to distract everyone from the game. So I'm getting goosebumps sort of talking about that. That's the sort of person that she is. She put the team first ahead of her personal situation, which would be tragic, And for me, a person of that nature, a person with that mentality, with that character is incredible. And to boot, look at the footballer she's becoming. She's becoming a world-class defender. She really, really is. I get a lot of feedback from her in Europe, and they're rating her very, very highly at one of the biggest clubs in the world, in Europe. So we're honoured to have someone like that, and the courage she's shown this week has been incredible.